Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. It's 6 questions in less than 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Well, let's go ahead and get started. First question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Daniel Senyard. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a travel tech startup called Shep. What we do is very in the weeds in the travel industry, but essentially we provide notifications on top of corporate travel websites. So if you have to book your travel in a site like Concur, we can create very dynamic pop-up notifications on top to tell people what they should book, shouldn't book, etc. And we do that on Concur and actually 1,800 other sites. And it's very relevant in the COVID era because travel is very restrictive. You can travel to some places, you can't travel to others, and it changes a lot. So being able to quickly update messaging and tell someone in Expedia that they can't go to Italy is very important, especially today.
Wow, that's fascinating. Great angle that you have there to do that. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
Just having people to bounce ideas off of, really. I think as entrepreneurs and, I'm sort of product leaning CEO, definitely have ideas bouncing around in my head all the time, and they need filtering. So I think that being able to have smart people, team and advisors that you can throw ideas against and can push back on you and come up with the right solution, I think is key.
Love it. Great. Question number 3. I hear from other leaders of teams that it can sometimes be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've, my company is fully remote and has been throughout. So engagement is very tricky. So, today I finished off my day of one-on-ones. So, I think that discipline is very important to have that time. You can drift apart very, very easily. So getting that alignment frequently is good. We'll do online just hangouts. We do get together in person, even though we're remote, most of us are around Texas. So the team does get together once a month, once every 2 months, both for work sessions, product planning, and happy hours, and going to the theater or whatever. We find different. We went to a comedy show all together most recently. So we do try and do that stuff. But most of my team, I'd say about 80% of us have actually worked together. So that is a bit of a cheat code with having that existing engagement and relationship that we can lean on. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Question number 4. What other piece of advice do you have for leaders of teams?
I think that it's very important to interview well, and that's kind of obvious, but I don't know if you can over-interview. It really is such a core ability to find the right person, and I don't think the process is done once the hiring is made. You sort of have a job in mind, and you have a candidate, and you think that over the course of 3 interviews, 5 interviews, that those two align. But I think it's an ongoing process, continually evaluating where that person is and how they match with the job, and how the job has changed. And so I think that being able to not be stuck in a equals B relationship, being able to have those continual conversations, evaluating the role and the person, means that the job will be done better and the person will be more fulfilled if the match continues to be right.
That's great. Thank you. Like that insight. Question number 5. What other team leaders, such as yourself, would you recommend be on my podcast?
A few people that I really look up to would be, I'm going to stick with my Austin posse, but the CEO of Data.World, Brett Hurt, has been around the block many times, run very big, successful companies. I guess Bizarre Voice being the biggest one, which IPO'd and such. And so he's just a great thinker, a very considerate person, and has led small teams all the way up to growing them to IPO level. Is a great writer, so like his blog, like I will read his stuff all the time, just seeing how he thinks about things. One of the practices I got from him was after a board meeting, I have the board meeting all over again with my team, so that there's always transparency across. Everyone knows what everyone knows. I think Josh Bay is another good one in Austin. He's the founder of Capital Factory and has really sort of taken trying to help and give back to the community to a new level of building an accelerator and a space that has become the sort of center of Austin's tech ecosystem. And putting the right people in place to run that and maintain that community, I think is tough. It's very difficult when you're a one-man show to step back and put the layers of management in place, that it remains true to the origin and the vision, but doesn't require you to have your fingers in every nook and cranny all the time.
That's great. They sound like fantastic leaders. So thank you for sharing those recommendations. Sixth and final question. Tell us about your first job.
So a weird one. So born in South Africa, this obviously isn't a Texan accent. My first job out of school, I was trying to go take a gap year in the UK. And there was a job for working in a mall, basically doing scanning for osteoporosis. And it was just a quick, put your foot in the scan, it gives you a quick reading of your bone density, and we book an appointment with the specialist. And then people quit, and I ended up, sort of doing scans, and in a very weird way, where I probably shouldn't be, where the doctor would call in and say, hey, I'm not going to make it in today. Could you just, hit scan and send me the results? And so very bit sketchy, I would say. Got out of that very quickly, and obviously lots of waitering. I waited, throughout high school, but that was my first out of school job at 17 or something. Was telling people if they needed, get to take osteoporosis medicine. I wouldn't write the scripts, but it was a very bizarre job.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And thank you so much for being on the podcast. How can people find you, Daniel?
LinkedIn's probably best if you just look up Daniel Senyard, Senyard. I'm on Twitter at dsenyard. That's probably good.
All right, fantastic. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can search us on LinkedIn at Blue Sky Business Consulting, and have a great day.